Welcome in, everyone. This is Heidel here. In for another set of rounds from the Cincinnati 1K that happened on Friday in May. It's been a minute. Taking a little bit of personal time away from doing this project to take care of some other things in my life, but back at it. You guys will see quite a few videos coming out over the next couple days, just to kind of get back on track. That being said, we have a really cool matchup, but before we get into that, I'm going to talk about the Indianapolis 1K. So the Indianapolis 1K is an event that is happening this next Sunday, June 28th at 1 p.m. in Carmel, Indiana. It is at Next Level Games Carmel, an awesome store that just opened up this summer. So we're calling it a 1K. Truly, they are just doing a $35 entry event that is 40% of the prize pool to firsts, 20% of the prize pool to second, third and fourth will each get 10%, fifth through eighth will each get 5%. It will be a Swiss cut to top 8 style event, so it's the same prize payout that a 1K would be based off of total prize support if there was only 1K in the prizing. However, there might be a little bit more in the prizings on top of that. So we will see everybody out there, have a little bit of fun. Deck list registration is available either on the product page through Next Level Games and their website, or through the Discord. So into the match. Deck 1 today, we're going to have Blue Post. So this is Adam Bowman, also known as Scuffle. His take on Blue Post. Quick aside before we even get into this round. These players going into this round actually decided to intentionally draw. However, they played out the round for us so that we would have coverage of this, and both of them on coverage. But into the Blue Post list. So this is a very, very standard Blue Post take. Very similar to lists that I've run before, with a couple changes. Big change here is that Adam has gone away from the idea of using as many warping whales as some people technically would use, or typically would use now, and is playing Poo Poo UFO. Poo Poo UFO allows them to ramp harder, while also being a little bit more resilient to creature combat attacks. As I move around the deck list there for a second. Boon of the Wishgiver is a great draw engine in your early game that allows you to turn 1 mana into 1 draw cycling, or in the late game if you get into a really grindy matchup, 6 mana draw 4 is very potent and very powerful. 4 Condescend, 4 Repeal, 4 Remand, 4 Scour for Scrap, things that we've seen. Mindslaver plus Academy Ruins, taking up almost a third of the budget, is a very prominent and very powerful, as well as some of these other utility lands, and just a bunch of different artifacts in the sideboard to make your Scour for Scraps basically a tutor package that for whatever you need in the main deck. Deck is very prominent, very powerful. Deck number 2, as I switch this from being rhinos and over to the correct thing, is High Tide. We've already seen this High Tide list. This is Noelle. She used this High Tide list against Fluctuator combo a couple rounds ago. So nothing really too insane to talk about here. Cloud of Fairies, Fae of Wishes, Flood of Recollection, Mind's Desire, Preordain. Very similar things to most High Tide lists. The one change here towards the typical High Tide list that we almost always see is that this is using the Radstorm kill. So Radstorm plus Prologue the Phyresis is essentially a 2-card combo. Prologue gives the initial poison counter. Radstorm allows you to just pump that up by quite a bit and kill your opponent. Let's get into the match. Both players deciding on their keeps or their moles right now. So looks like we have a trench post into an expedition map. Island Pass from Noelle. Island Pass This is essentially like right where Noelle wants to be and right where Adam wants to be. Adam putting lands into play, going to go get a cloud post here, putting putting as many lands as quickly as possible into play, ramping up, hopefully going to sit there with a bunch of counter magic in the next couple turns to really force Noelle to go off at earliest convenience, not at an early spot. Pause the video real quick. There we go. Displaying out that cloud post, it can be very difficult. This is a prologue to Phyresis coming out. So Adam is going to get his first poison counter now. As Noelle pulls out the tokens ominously. So prologue. Alright. Adam would really like to see a second blue mana here to hold up double interaction. Does not look like he has it. He will play a Glimmer Post. Gain 3. That opens up quite a lot of additional mana. However, I don't know how much it's going to end up mattering. It looks like there might be a Soul Guide Lantern. Yeah, Soul Guide Lantern pulled out to the front. Thinking about this, putting it into play here. That can be very important. Oh, there we go. Impulse on end step. Noelle, we did display, put the Soul Guide Lantern into play. Preordain, we're starting to look here. Top, very ominous. You never like to see your Ponder player like look at 3 cards and just be like, yep, those are good, and not play a fetch land. And you never like to see your Preordain player just like look at 2 cards and go, yeah, those are good, draw. Like, you want to see at least one go to the bottom. Alright, we're popping another expedition map here on end step. One of the things that Noelle can do is combo off on instant speed. One of the things that the Red Storm list can do that the normal High Tide lists can have trouble with. They can do them. Adam, did he go and grab another island? I didn't see what he grabbed there. He does have an island in his hand. So not playing out a second island here is a clear tell that there's only one piece of interaction that I'm dealing with from the High Tide side. I am going to have to deal with this Soul Guide Lantern eventually, but from the High Tide side, we are just dealing with most likely one counter spell, maybe a Warping Whale. Warping Whale doesn't really tag any of the like super important pieces in the High Tide list. Your cards like Cloud of Fairies, it kills it, but it doesn't stop the ability. Frantic Search, Turnabout, all of your untappers are not, and even High Tide are not stopped by Warping Whale. So here goes High Tide. Big thing about High Tide here is that it does open up Adam to having double blue mana. If it does resolve. Adam tapping quite a lot here. That's 5 mana. Milieu. Gotcha. Okay, so we're milling. Those were all random cards. So this is a counter unless you pay 2 here. Pay 2. Alright, High Tide's resolved. We do have the Cloud of Fairies to untap. Storm's 3. 4 mana. Looks like this is a Frantic Search. It is. It's pulled to the front. That's a Consigned to Memory. So we can pitch that Consigned to Memory if we need to. And that's what we're doing. The second pitch is going to be an interesting one. We've got quite a lot of mana here, quite a lot of storm count, up to 4 storm. Already have the 1 counter, so we only need to cast a few more spells before the Rad Storm becomes lethal. I did not catch, I believe there is a Rad Storm in the board for Noelle as well. I believe she has one of those to go and get off that granted. Noelle in the tank here a little bit about sequencing and how she wants to do this. Plays out the 5th island. Found most likely off the Frantic Search. Three mana. Echoing Truth. So we're just making mana here. Making mana, making storm. Wondering when Adam's going to pull the trigger on this Soul Guide Lantern. The Consigned to Memory sitting in the graveyard, I would have pulled it already. So solve is spell 7. You could, if there's a second solve, go solve into Brad Storm is a kill here. I do not have the list pulled up in front of me. I probably should have that. So we're solving for a Mind's Desire. That is a really strong one here. I mean, that's a kill. But very, very, very dead from this spot. I'd be... Okay, there is no Rad Storm in the sideboard. I wonder what Noelle's calculus is here. What is she playing around? Reaches out the hand to see the card, gets a handshake instead. All right. So we did get to see a kill there. So as they sideboard here, I'm going to go ahead and look at my sideboards and my deck lists that I have set up. You can hear them in the background talking about how the game went. So from the blue post side, we have a lot of interaction in our main board, but the big thing here from the sideboard is that we're able to get into our copies of Soul Guide Lantern, Stone Brain, Scavenger Grounds, that I could see bringing in some other cards here. There's some things that could matter. These poo-poo UFOs are probably coming out. Retrofitter Foundry doesn't seem like it's a clock. I'd be all in if I was Adam on something like the Mindslaver combo to end this game, or the ability to mill out using Trench Post to end this game, and just holding open as much interaction as I possibly can at every single turn cycle. And then from your High Tide side, you're essentially just going into this matchup thinking that it is a classic control match. Planisphere could be something that you could be interested in. That is something that comes down early and your opponent has to deal with eventually. It is a permanent, so maybe your opponent doesn't have any permanent hate left in their deck. From the side of blue post, probably not. Cards like Test of Talents, Mission Briefing maybe comes in. I could see it not, though. But mostly I'm interested in a card like Rebuild, or a card like Test of Talents. Echoing Truth, possibly. You don't want to take too many of those things out of there for the wish board aspect of your deck, but you already have 2 remands, 3 Spell Pierce in your main. Quite a lot of additional help there. Gives you some support. Our players are shuffling up here. Again, I would like to thank you guys for coming out and joining us. These matches did happen about a month ago from the time of recording, but I still want to bring some content to you guys, have you guys see some of the format. Thankfully, both of these decks are still basically in their entirety in the format. We did have an unbanning that happened the Monday after this tournament, and that made Violent Outbursts not really playable in this format. And since that time, has also made the card Vexing Bubble has jumped up quite a bit in the price. So for the time being, these decks are still probably, in my mind, 2 of the best decks in the format, in Blue Post and High Tide respectively. So we'll go back in here. Noelle looks through her sideboard real quick, shows the Blue Sun. Again, these players did decide to intentionally draw at the beginning of this round, so they're probably being a little bit more chummy than they would if they were playing for top 8 here, but these players will both be seen in top 8. Alright, Island Pass coming from Adam. Preordain. Again, that top from that Preordain, just making us feel bad. Here's the Poo-Poo UFO on turn 2. So those did stay in. We'll see how much of a version of exploration this Poo-Poo UFO ends up looking like. Here's a Monument's Perfection. We're remanding an Impulse. Do we have the turn 3, or are we going to attempt the turn 3 here? No, we are not. Alright, so Poo-Poo UFO plus Monument's Perfection. This is a pretty good lock here. Allows Adam at the end step of Noelle's turn to search up a land and put it into play for 3 mana. So anytime that there is nothing coming down from Noelle on her turn, Adam is just going to get to basically just search up. It's any land except for, I believe, 2 in their list. There's a Hall of the Storm Giants. Oh, there's also the Blast Zones. Hall of the Storm Giants, Blast Zone, maybe a Field of Ruin. But all the locusts, all the basic lands we can go and search and put into play. So yep. Tap Poo Poo to put the Cloud Post into play. Monument, a card that initially I didn't really have a ton of faith in, and then I resolved one against a red-black, or sorry, I resolved one against a blue-black Sailor's Bane deck in testing, and I just put into play a land every turn and drew a card every turn, and they never got to play the game ever again. I just got so far ahead. Like, 3 mana, draw what card you want, or draw what land you want every turn is pretty good. Solve the equation. We're gonna go search in our library for an instant sorcery. Tap for 3, put a Cloud Post into play. Glimmer Post, gaining that irrelevant life. Adam says all the relevance. There is a chance that those planospheres did come in. I don't know what Noelle's sideboard plan is for the matchup, but could have gone that route. We've got a preordain. It looks like it's looking at mission briefing at turnabout. We do not want either of those. This is where Blue Post kind of starts feeling like it's just closing in the clamps. It just starts locking you down. It's going to start milling you out. It's going to start making this game miserable to play. Found the 5th land. Search. So search for a trench post, put a trench post into play. Milieu. There's another Cloud Post, another Trench Post. Or sorry, that was a Glimmer Post and a Trench Post. There was residual mana. So milieu 5, milieu 5. So 3 mana floating cast Stonebrain. So our hand has a High Tide in it. There shouldn't be a high tide in the deck left. We should sideboard one out for granted so that we can go and grab it out of the sideboard. That's a very, very common trick that Cunning Wish or Granted versions of this deck are using. All 4 high tides were in the deck though. Okay, so Noelle will have to win this game without using high tide if she wants to win this game. Second poo-poo is worse than the first. Alright, another island. Are we going for the manual? Flood of Recollection, target turnabout. I mean, these frantic searches have to be really good. Gonna condescend this for a lot. Monument first. So counter unless you pay 1. Leaving open the mana so that I can trench post twice. 12. And Noelle decides to go to game 3. We can skip ahead here. Alright, here we go. Land Preordain. Skipping ahead into game 3 here. Hall, Soul Ring, Poo Poo. Island. Poo Poo and an island. Talking about the milling, saying coward. Play a Field of Ruin. Field of Ruin, not really where you want to be in this matchup. It can get you another island in a pinch, but I really don't think that there's any targets on the other side. Preordain top. Play out island. As Adam is checking a sleeve here on a remand. Sorry there, I don't know what's going on. We good, video? do apologize. It looks like my video is buffering quite a bit here. Could be that there's some data corruption in the video. There we go. However, I have lost audio myself. So we have 5 islands on the high tide side. There we go. Okay, that's what's going on. My headphones are causing some issues here. I do apologize. There we go. So, high tide is being cast. We're remanding the high tide. Adam has 1 card in hand. We're allowing the remand, so you're going to draw. Replay out the high tide. So we have condescended the high tide. Looks like we have countered back and condescended the counter back. Oh, condescended the second high tide. So we let that one go. Flood of Recollection, target high tide, and pass the turn. So we've got a high tide back in our hand, but we allowed we paid for one of the high tides to go off so that we could put it back into our hand. Drew a Stone Brain to name high tide and get them gone again. The hand is Mission Briefing, Fairies Granted Remand. Alright, it looks like Noelle might have been onto it this time and sideboarded out one of the high tides. Showing it in the sideboard. There we go. Did not see the planispheres in there as Adam was kind of just pushing through. So again, Noelle is going to have to go through basically the entire combo here without high tides. We're going to Granted for the for the high tide that was in the sideboard, put it into hand. This card's on an adventure. Awake the Hall. You're under a clock. It's not a great clock. It looks like it was an attack for 5 there. Prologue. You take another You get your initial infect counter here. Here's the high tide. Adam, no cards in hand. Noelle is free range here. Cloud of Fairies. Storm is 2. Granted remand. This looks like a turnabout. Gonna make a lot of mana here. Yeah, it looks like 8 mana floating after that turnabout. Yep. Spell Pierce isn't needed anymore. Looks like there's a mission briefing and a remand that Noelle is deciding between. Decides to get rid of the remand. Preordain. Well, there's a Radstorm on top. I think our opponent is dead here. Few spells in hand. Mission briefing. If we take mission briefing, we get back the remand, and then we cast Radstorm, remand the initial one. That is very, very lethal. Wonder if that is the line that Noelle is going to end up taking here. So Adam leans over. Decides to take Flood of Recollection. We're going to flood here. Get back the mission briefing. Okay, we're just doing it all natural. We're just casting. We're just gonna cast 9 spells. The world is our oyster. Mission briefing back. Prologue. Prologue you. Show the Radstorm. Again, these players did decide to ID at the beginning of this round, so none of this ends up mattering. We'll be seeing Adam and Noelle in top 8. However, we are, as we get into that, we'll see a Granted here. We will see Noelle winning this game 2-1. Again, thank you guys so much for coming out and watching these videos and supporting the channel. This weekend, hope to see all of you playing Blue Post, High Tide, even Nado, you sickos, out at the Indianapolis 1K. Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your day.